Okay.
Welcome to the No Camps podcast. I'm Sunny G.
I'm Akash.
I'm Jason.
And here on the No Camps podcast, we discuss a variety of TV, film, and other topics. And on today's episode, we'll be talking a little bit about what we've been watching. So, Sunny and Jason, you guys are traveling together this weekend, right? And got to see a couple of movies together. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, Jason has just started on what TV show, my friend?
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And how are you liking it so far?
I love it. It's hilarious.
All right.
I feel like I came in really late in the game, but our mutual friend introduced it to us, or introduced it to me. I love the show. Like I'm obsessed with the characters. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's awesome. Like I get why everyone was talking about it for so long. You know, it's amazing. You guys, have you seen it, Akash?
Yeah, I've seen it, but can you answer a question? True or false? Is this such a show of everyone just like yelling at each other nonstop? I think that's why I find it very hard to like. It's just constant yelling, and I'm like, "Hey, this is funny because I'm yelling at you, and it's funny." I never really got.
No,
the show.
see, the thing is, you can barely understand anything they're saying when they're yelling, but that's not like the funny part. The funny part is everything that happens in between them yelling. Like you can just always count on them disagreeing on whatever they're disagreeing about, but when they eventually start to actually have a conversation, it's just mind blowing how much of an assholes all of these characters are.
They're the most
An
shallow
asshole,
people.
yeah, exactly. How shallow, how terrible people they are.
So you don't feel any like guilt or regret when something bad happens to one of the characters, which is everything's on limits now. You know, they're not immune to anything. Like terrible things can happen to them.
Could you guys say
hilarious,
that
and you feel justified in laughing because they're horrible people? Yeah.
it's about the implication? That's why it's so funny.
Yes.
That's one of the best moments in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That moment sums up the show, which is that everything's on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our mutual friends showed me that clip, and I thought it was pretty funny about the implication.
Hilarious.
Yeah, like you said, Jason, I think like I just missed a boat on that show, and it just seems like it's too much of a task to either jump back in, and I also kind of find the characters really annoying. So it's a very hard show for me to watch.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I watched a couple episodes a long time ago, and I just wasn't that into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like almost took a friend of ours to make a joke and want me to get on board enough to like watch it. So in a way, I felt like kind of hoaxed into it. So I have like a bias now when I watch it because I just like it because it's funny. Now it's like fodder for like the beauty of that show is it is just like the dynamic between these complete assholes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're around your friends and you want to be an asshole, there's so many references you can pull from the show. And that's why it's just so perpetuated so easily. So once that has been applied to you and your friends, the show becomes really easy to watch because it's just like shit that you can like parallels that you can pull between. You can, you know, there's just references like crazy out of that show. And
what season is that show on? Do they continually have new episodes?
Yeah, they're like on season 12 or 13.
Oh man.
You don't really. I haven't really watched it. I started with Sunny to watch like from season 1, episode 1, but I didn't start from season 1. You can kind of jump in wherever. And once you kind of pick up on, like I think I jumped in like in season 7, and once you kind of just pick up on the characters and kind of like what they do and their traits, it just becomes funny. Like you don't really, again, these are shallow characters. You don't really need to know a whole lot about them.
There's not a lot of growth in the show, so it's not like. Yeah, anything really depends on plot events that happen in earlier seasons.
Completely understood, but yeah, I guess if you've been watching it, you understand why the show's so funny. But if you miss a boat, for people like me, I guess I'm just gonna.
You keep saying that doesn't mean anything. You didn't miss a boat. They're still making episodes. Yeah. Right. You can watch all of them on Netflix.
I'm choosing not to watch the show. How about that? I'm choosing not.
No, that's exactly what you are just making the choice not to.
Yeah, I feel like to me it's Seinfeld for me because like I never really found Seinfeld that funny when I first watched it, but everyone loves Seinfeld and everyone has references to Seinfeld, and I just don't really have a whole lot of interest in just really jumping into it, especially when you have like Curb.
Exactly. I feel like people can miss the boat on that.
Yeah,
on
for
Seinfeld.
sure. I mean, if
for less.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the only difference, I mean, every character, like not every single character in Seinfeld is a scumbag. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I guess it's just a funny show about.
Yeah, I mean, they're just
bad
90s
people doing bad things, right?
right? TV.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
They're just 90s scumbags.
Right.
Like they're scumbags for whatever the 90s were, right? Which is not nearly as bad as what these assholes are doing on this show.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, what else have you guys been watching?
Man, we watched this crazy Netflix movie called Geralds Game.
This is gonna be good for us, Jess. Really good. That's a marriage, isn't it? Working on the difficult things.
For better or worse.
Let's go in, get comfy. I bet you think your husband will be back any minute. Try to go for help. There's no one for miles.
Gerald?
I'm sorry, baby. You don't get to know my name.
I don't like this. I'm serious. Stop.
I like that.
Stop it!
Are you playing?
Is this really what it takes these days?
God, how do we go so wrong? We were happy once, weren't we?
Gerald? What? What's happening?
Oh.
Gerald!
Man, it was nuts. So we watched it like at night, and Sunny and I, at the end of the movie, Sunny and I couldn't go to sleep. We had to like stay up and we had to watch like It's Always Sunny. We had to watch something else to like get your mind off how fucked up this movie is, because that's the only way to explain it. It's just a fucked up movie. And you know, in Netflix now, what they do is pretty cool. Is if you hover over a movie, they play like the trailer kind of thing.
If it's available, yeah.
Yeah. So they have like the trailer for this movie. And the trailer is based on a Stephen King novel, and it's a couple who it's kind of they're having a struggling marriage. They go up to this lake house, and the husband wants to get really, kinky, and he decides to handcuff her to the bed. And I'm forgetting the character's names. So it's almost famous, but so they handcuff her to the bed, and while she's handcuffed to the bed, he has a heart attack and dies.
Oh, jeez.
She's stuck handcuffed to the bed for days. And
going ape shit.
And the
Losing her
movie,
mind.
yeah, exactly. It's like a psychological thriller. It's suddenly she projects her husband and herself talking to her and trying to talk her in and out of actually making it through this like survival, the struggle that she's in. And the like
Let's
the
keep the
little
spoiler
pats
free.
into her like
I'd like
yeah,
to watch
no
it.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it goes down like her life and just the shit that comes up and the way it gets presented. It's just so it's crazy. It's like you thought like if you watch the trailer and you think you know the story, and then everything in the trailer happens so early, you're like, okay, well, what the hell is going to happen in this movie? And it just takes the craziest turns. Like,
so is it absurd?
and I
Is it
have to
scary?
tell you, it starts off a little ridiculous and stupid. And her husband, it's Carla Gugino, and her husband is the guy that was in Star Trek who drafted Kirk.
Yeah.
That actor.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that guy. And so it starts off pretty lame. It looks pretty stupid.
Yes.
And then it gets nuts. And maybe that's why it was so good, because it starts off so weak and then it just escalates into this ridiculous. It's a total mindfuck.
Right. So do you recommend I watch it or not? Sounds like a stay away, or like it's so crazy it's worth watching.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. It's like it's surprising. It's worth watching.
I will say that might be.
It's a movie.
That might be the worst sell I've ever heard on a movie. FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is, but still, it's not a great movie. I'm not telling you you're not going to walk away thinking it's an amazing movie, but
Yeah.
it's worth a watch. It's
Right.
just, it's nuts. But I have to warn you, it gets pretty gory at one point, and it's surprising. So
It
just,
gets hardcore.
it gets fucking
Super
hardcore.
hardcore.
Interesting.
Like I had to look away from, I couldn't look at
Yeah.
the screen.
Well, I'll definitely
and all in
give that
all-
a check. I'll watch that.
At least watch the trailer.
Yeah, watch the
Right.
trailer. Well, I mean, the trailer didn't sell me on it at all. Like I was more sold after watching the movie than the trailer.
That's true. I liked it. Yeah, that's true. my aunt wanted to, and I kind of didn't want to, but we had been choosing what to watch, so I went along with it.
That's a good question. I have a follow-up question. Is this a good movie to watch with your family, like older people in your family, your parents, or?
Yeah,
Adult
theme.
It's adult.
Yes.
Adult theme. Okay. I feel like a movie where one of the main characters gets chained to a bed while performing some kinky acts is not something I'd want to watch with my mom and dad in the same room. So
Too far into the kinky.
oh jeez.
It gets dark though.
Yeah, it gets dark pretty quick.
Right.
Comfortable kind of thriller.
It's just uncomfortable watching. Period. I mean, I know I'm recommending it and giving it both 4 but those kind of movies are just kind of weirdly. It's weird. It's a weird piece of film, if you want to call it that. It's so crazy. It's just thinking about it, it's worth watching.
So to summarize, what I'm hearing is definitely watch this movie, maybe. Right?
Definitely, maybe.
Yeah.
So in spirit with that, as you guys know, I have Movie Pass and I have a theater walking distance, and Movie Pass has allowed me to be very adventurous with the movies that I go see. And during the Thanksgiving holidays, I saw quite a few films, and in line with what you mentioned, I went to see this, I guess it's dubbed as a dark comedy / psychological horror film. It's called The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. He's also directed Dogtooth and The Lobster, and just FYI, Jason, he's Greek, so you should definitely check out his movies. But
we don't have to worry about nothing, 'cause we got the fire and we're burning one hell of a something. They're gonna see us from outer space.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about Bod.
It's
nothing serious. No, it is.
Like we're the stars of the human race.
Where did you two go?
When the lights started out, they don't know what they heard.
this, in my opinion, might be either like in my top 3 or my favorite movie of the year so far. He is able to capture horror in a way that I've never seen before. The dialogue is so matter of fact, and all these absurd things are happening around you. You're just like on the edge of your seat the entire time. It is visually a stunning movie. Each scene is extremely rich, and it's essentially loosely based on the Greek play Iphigenia, which is basically the story of Agamemnon having to sacrifice one of his children before the Trojan War so he can get his troops across the ocean. So I'm no spoiler side. I highly recommend you go watch this movie. Like I said earlier, it does horror in a way that I've never seen before, and the dialogue is so interesting. Yorgos, the director, manages to get Colin Farrell in most of his movies, and he delivers the performances, I think, extremely well. Colin Farrell has like found a second life, like doing indie movies. He was always like touted as like, you know, the next action hero, right? And that didn't really pan out for him. I think the last movie we saw was what's a remake of that Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it's called Total Recall.
Total Recall. Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That movie sucked.
So yeah, he's, like I was saying, he's found a second life doing these like very interesting movies, and his performance is amazing. And in that vein, I kind of jumped and watched this previous movie called The Lobster. It's on Amazon Prime right now, and it's similar in fashion. It's a dark comedy, and it is basically commenting on like how dating works in the 21st century now with online dating and things like that. It's a very clever movie. It's really hard to explain anything. It's kind of one of those things, just watch it. if you guys trust my opinion on these movies, please watch it. I'd love to come back and really discuss it. But The Killing of the Sacred Deer, very, very scary. So check it out. And
Okay.
So you don't, but you're not a huge horror film fan, right?
exactly.
You're
So
not that
like
into horror.
this is
So what was that for you? Was it actually scary, or do you think it handled it in a way like the storytelling kind of overcame the horror?
so it's not horror in the sense what we're traditionally used to. There's no jump scares. There's no demon, right? It's the consequences of certain actions that the character makes, which is dangled in front of the viewers the whole time, and it's like an omnipresence that you know it's gonna happen. Like the whole movie, the beginning, you don't understand certain relationships and why these characters are acting the way they are, and then you have to kind of accept like they're living in this kind of like absurdist world, and the build up to the final scene is happening, and you're hoping the whole time, oh man, I really hope it doesn't end this way. And it's more of a psychological thriller than it is a horror movie. I think I should rephrase that. So
Cool. Wait, so where is it? Is it out in theaters?
yeah, it was out in theaters a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if it's still in wide
Is it
release.
like one of
So
the theaters around here?
you might have to go check it out when it comes out on DVD. Yeah, I actually saw it at a Regal, so it's not like an indie theater or anything like that. It got somewhat of a wide release. But
Wide release. Right.
yeah. So during the Thanksgiving holidays, upon the recommendation of my friend and co-host Sunny, I watched this movie called Miss Slone. And Sunny told me this is one of his favorite movies, and he's seen it multiple times.
Of the year.
Of the year.
Lobbying is about foresight. About anticipating your opponent's moves
She's your enemy now.
and devising countermeasures.
How the hell did she manage that?
You're a piece of work, Elizabeth.
I was hired to win. I use whatever resource I have.
So I put it on for me and my family to watch, and I didn't get it. I didn't think it was that good. And
You
the
don't
whole
get
time,
what happened in the movie.
no, I completely get what happened, but the whole time it's like, wow, Sunny recommended this movie? Like, what? I didn't get what you like so much about it. I thought like the dialogue was so over the top, and Chastain didn't sell it at all. Sorry, let's take a step back.
You didn't think so?
Yeah. So let's take a step back. This is a movie called Miss Slone, starring Jessica Chastain and Mark Strong, directed by Jonathan Pereira. I don't know what else he's done. John Madden. I'm not really sure what he's done. But first of all, tell me what you like so much about the movie, because I'm struggling to see what was good about this film.
Yeah.
Okay, have you seen it?
No,
Jason?
that's why I'm really curious.
Okay. Why don't you tell me you didn't like it? You thought her acting was over the top, so you didn't think she was good
I think
at it.
the dialogue was poorly. Jessica Chastain is probably one of my favorite actresses. I like most of everything that she does. Like Zero Dark 30 is probably one of my favorite movies, and I thought she acted the shit out of that movie. But this movie, the dialogue wasn't for her. Like the character just seemed too ridiculous. Like I know what they're trying to do. They're like trying to hype her up as this badass lobbyist, but it just came off as so corny, and like I couldn't buy it. You know what I mean? They have all these scenes where she's picking up her team, and then it's an old team versus a new team, and there's a twist at the end, and I just kind of rolling my eyes the whole time.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I think that's everything that you just labeled as not liking about it. I feel like could have been solved with a different framing of expectation, because I'm not, because when I said I really like it, I'm not pitching it as like some Oscar-worthy movie. It's not like, what was the name of that movie with Rachel Weisz and the guy who plays Voldemort? She was like a UN worker, and he was, then something happened to her and she died or something, and he went,
oh, The Mummy too,
like, hiking through Africa. No. No. Never mind. It's not like some serious, really good drama, right? It's not like Blood Diamond is not a good example, but so it's not like the like a serious drama thriller like Constant Gardener, right? Where like the performances you're getting are like the content is, you know, in that case it was nonfiction or whatever, but the content mattered, like actually felt important. This was just your kind of, yeah, she's a lobbyist. She's gonna tell you what, you know. It's kitschy, like House of Cards is kitschy, right? I think if you like House of Cards and you can take the suspension of disbelief that you get with House of Cards, then you'll really enjoy this movie.
You know,
and so I think if you were expecting something more than that, then you would have been disappointed.
House of Cards works because it's filled with a very competent cast. Jessica Chastain might be the only like strong lead in this movie, and maybe it asks too much of her to carry the entire movie.
You don't think she carried it though?
I think she carried it in a very cheesy way, and like it was just.
Oh my gosh.
It was just eye roll central. So I think we need Jason to watch this movie and weigh in. You know what I mean? Okay. But actually, I wouldn't recommend him watch this movie.
Yeah, whatever.
So yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know if I should or shouldn't.
Well, okay. What movie would you compare it to? How about that?
Ooh.
What's the closest movie you can compare it
to? It gave me a vibe of like a heist movie, kind of, right? Like, cause there's the team, like, you know. I'm assembling my team, and this guy's good at this. This guy's good at that, right? So, I mean, I don't know what other movie takes place in like a scene, like in Washington, but like a heist movie, I'm not sure. Nothing really comes to my mind right now that's quite similar to that. I felt like it thought its ending was very clever when it was just like kind of okay.
You didn't think the ending? Oh my god! I don't even. We're completely at an impasse. I thought it was fucking awesome. Great, because she took down the corrupt. Whatever.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, no spoilers. But yeah, definitely.
Whatever, dude.
I would love.
Is there a lot of action in it?
No.
No. So
it's all drama.
It's a political drama. It's a political drama.
Yeah, political drama. But I think political heist movies are pretty accurate representation. It's like it's like the Italian Job, if their skill sets were in public opinion about things.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And so
I agree.
I think you can expect that level of seriousness. Actually, a little bit more than that, but because it's not trying to be funny.
You know, but the thing is, to the movie's credit, like it's a great movie to watch with your family during the holidays. I think it's like something you can get everyone around and like.
That's those backhanded compliment. Yeah, it's great, like to watch the older people, so you don't have to think about, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess the conclusion is Sunny really enjoyed it. I would pass on the movie, but we need now Jason to weigh in and actually watch this movie.
I'll watch half. You know, that way I'm like in between. So I'll either watch the first half or second half. So you guys tell me which one is better, and I'll do that.
Okay. So, did you guys have a chance to watch anything else with your family during the holidays, Thanksgiving holidays?
I actually watched Terminator Genesis with my my family and our friends.
Why?
And our family friends are big fans of the Terminator like franchise. And I mean, I gotta admit, I like the old movie. Like the first one and the second one are awesome. But I've just lost track of all the Terminator movies, and I forgot that there was, or how many there were, and what was in between. And it was, the movie itself was pretty bad. It's a great movie to watch with your family. It's I don't know. It's the action. I guess there's a lot of good action in it, and I guess if you really want to like geek out the universe, you know, this kind of does it.
Right.
But it plays a lot with time travel, and when you start playing with time travel, it gets really weird and hairy. And the way that they use time travel in this movie, they kind of expect you to really know what's going on in the storylines and what happens where and things in sequential. And I don't really know it that well. So to someone who doesn't know it that well, it was really hard to keep up with the movie. But they do, like, they repeat so many things from like the first couple of movies that they know will deliver. Mm-hmm. It's like the Jurassic World of to the Terminator movies. They just get like big names, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. this character like 30 years later is ridiculous to me. To age.
Yeah.
So like in this movie, it's like the skin that they put on these robots is like human skin, so it ages. So of course he's getting older. Of course he's getting older. And so that explains why he's slow as shit. And of course, right? And him explaining, he was like the science guy in this movie. He explained all the science, and the gibberish that came out of that dude with that Australian accent was really hard to keep up with. And it was hard to Austrian. With that Austrian accent, it was hard to take it seriously, and I don't know. I don't recommend this movie.
Khaleesi's in this movie, right?
Khaleesi's in this movie. Yeah, Emilia Clarke.
And Jai Courtney.
Yeah, Jai Courtney.
They keep trying to make it happen, and I don't want it to happen.
I mean, I guess Emilia Clarke was Emilia Clarke in this movie. I mean, she's actually pretty good in like an action type movie, but like it just wasn't that good. I mean, I could see her like really pull off like a good like action sci-fi. I could see her do that, but this was not the vehicle for that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just terrible, man. I mean, just really cheesy and like, yeah. Again, there's so much that they expect you to inherently go in with, like knowing about the story. Time like explaining it, or there's a lot of like nods and Easter eggs that like just went way over my head. Yeah. Oh, and it also has the guy from Planet of the Apes, or the
Jason Clarke,
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Jason Clarke.
Yeah, is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's John.
Oh.
If you know anything about the story.
John Connor.
Oh.
It's fucking terrible. It's like what they do to that character. I did not like what happened to the character.
J.K. Simmons is in this movie. Is he good?
Yeah. I mean, for the split few seconds that he's on. Have you seen it, Sunny? Oh shoot! Yeah, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it was not great. I was not impressed with it.
Yeah,
and they gave away a lot in the trailer, and just did a bunch of shit that didn't make sense. And overall, I was bored.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
So is this kind of one of those movies that you guys put on and you guys were talking over the movie as you were watching it? Like, it's like a good holiday movie, right? Like you guys are hanging out. You
but
your
like
friends
again, like our family friends. Yeah, our family friends are really into Terminator and stuff. So like, my sister really likes it. So even being attentive, I did not know what the hell was going on, and I had to ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
And but I don't know. I mean, if you're into like mindless destruction and you don't really care about story, like yeah, jump in. That doesn't sound fun to me, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, definitely noted. Speaking of things that I'm not really sure if I'd recommend, I watched 10 episodes of Netflix's The Punisher, and
oh yeah,
I have no idea what the show's about. I really don't know.
I have no idea what it's about.
I've seen 10 episodes and I get the basic plot, but like I keep zoning out each episode. And when the episode's over on Netflix, it just keeps going to the next one. So I've gotten that far and watched 10 episodes, and I know that Joe Barenthal is the best Joe Barenthal playing Punisher, and he's essentially killing everyone, and he's trying to kill this one last dude, and I don't know if he's got to him yet. So in my opinion, it seems like mindless violence, but to the show's credit, I also haven't been paying attention. So if you like a lot of gritty violence, definitely watch the show. Are you guys fan of The Punisher?
I'm a fan of The Punisher. Not really Joe Barenthal.
I have no opinion.
Yeah. Wait, so did you say this is the best Joe Barenthal?
Yeah, being Joe
John
Barenthal.
That John Barenthal has done?
Yeah. This is the best Joe.
John Barenthal? Okay.
This is like, good. Imagine Joe Barenthal in The Accountant times 500. Mm-hmm. So he's like peak Joe Barenthal.
That's so much John Barenthal.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you guys envision yourself even watching the show? Is it something you can pass on? No. It's just so much violence in an age where we just see this constantly on the news. I don't know if it's something people really want to escape to and watch when they see it on the TV so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
isn't that bad?
That's what I'm saying.
Like that much hardcore shit?
It's so bad. Like, why would, I don't know. In terms of violence, it's just over the top. I guess, I was thinking about it. Like, why do I feel that way about this show when John Wick does the same exact thing, but it's like more enjoyable? I think we feel like John Wick is more like fantastical. It doesn't seem super set in our reality. It kind of seems more set in like a made up world where assassins are everywhere. You know what I mean? Whereas this tries very hard to do what Marvel's been doing, where it's like, this is set in our world right now, and there are these outliers and people who do crazy shit, and that is like the Marvel universe. So I don't know. If you guys do watch it, let me know and report back in.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But
Not happening.
Yeah. Keep watching until if it gets any better. We'll watch the show vicariously through you.
I have one more episode left, and I might not even finish the series. So
No, what? You have to at least tell us how it ends.
Does it get the guy?
Oh,
Does it kill King? Who is it? Who does it kill?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know the characters' names. This is the worst review of a TV show ever on a podcast, but here it is. No Camps Podcast.
Hey, have you? How long are the episodes?
40
Oh
minutes.
man, each episode's probably like 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow, that's a lot of content you can't do, and you still can't. You can't guess the characters. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So yeah, that's a bad sell right there too.
Yeah. So we got two
With
bad
my
sells.
aunt, we watched a movie called Invisible Guest. It's a Spanish movie. That's the American title. I don't know what it is in Spanish. But the plot is that I won't give it away. I highly recommend it. It was a pretty good foreign thriller. So like, if you're just in the mood for like, I think about 2 hours of foreign movie. If you feel like you've been watching too many American movies and you want a good foreign movie, this one should be your next one. So the general plot is that this guy, some Spanish businessman, gets accused of killing his lover in a hotel room, and he's about to go in front of trial for another day in court, like his last day in court for this case. And this lawyer woman comes to his hotel room to prep him for what he's going to say in court. But she's like, comes in at these late stages to try to get all of the information, like everything that person might be trying to hide and stuff like that. Get all of that information out in the open so she can help piece together like a last-ditch narrative about why he should be innocent or whatever. And that's all I want to say. But it's pretty intense. Well, let me think of a movie to compare it to. It's a movie where the more they talk in this room, the more you learn about what parts of the story are real and what parts aren't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because he's making the accusation that someone framed him.
Okay.
So you don't know if he did or not.
I see.
Yeah. So that's something I recommend. And then
how did you watch that, Sunny? Is it on Amazon Prime?
Oh, this is on Netflix.
Oh, okay, great.
This is on Netflix. Yeah,
Okay.
Miss Slone is on Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
But this is on Netflix. I forgot the other movie we watched, but we rewatched Whole 9 Yards. Early 2000s, late 90s or something. Have you guys seen this?
The Adam Sandler one? Or
No.
No. Oh no, what was I saying?
Matthew Perry, Bruce Willis, Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. It's like physical comedy. Perry's stylish, but he's also really sarcastic, right?
Yeah. He just plays a character from Friends.
Yeah, he plays Chandler Bing. Yeah. In it, he plays Chandler Bing in this hilarious sitcom where he's being tracked down by hitmen, or working with hitmen, but without a laugh track. So it's like Chandler Bing from Friends without a laugh track. But it's a really good movie, really good. Oh, Amanda Peet is in it. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But I don't know. That it might be a thing that you might have missed the boat on, quote unquote.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see if you like it or not.
I'll definitely check it out. I remember this movie was talked a lot when it came out. This is like is this a billed as a comedy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a comedy.
Gotcha.
Yes.
definitely continue to check that out. So,
Yeah, check it out, bro.
anything else, guys? Can we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Start watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia, dude.
Yeah.
Quit being a bitch.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, it's great to like watch probably YouTube clips of that show. So I'll start doing that. Specific scenes. I can only handle that show in YouTube clip doses. So.
Oh, on that note, I showed Sunny some Nathan For You.
Yeah.
Oh, he
and
did?
That guy is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which episode did you
well,
watch?
I guess we watched clips from certain episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we watched his 3 late night appearances: Conan, Jimmy Kimmel, and
Awesome.
the other one, Seth Meyers.
Well, he does this thing where he tells a story about like this crazy story about going to a funeral
Mm-hmm.
and going to a wedding and getting pulled over by the cops, and then he tells it again on another show. Then he tells it again on the other show, revealing that he just made it all up and it was for his TV show.
But that he, in between that, giving that that story the first time and talking about it the second time, went out and made the story true.
Yeah.
By doing all of the things that happened in the story.
Oh.
No, he did that before. Like he did it before his TV show.
Yeah.
He was telling the story like it was true, but then he goes on later after the show got released. He goes on later to reveal
to actually do those things.
Yeah, but that's how hard this guy will troll. They'll just
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
That's hilarious. There's I think it's like season 1, episode 1. He goes into an interview based on the premise that he can land the job based solely on his competence. So he puts in the earpiece, and there's an 8-year-old kid sitting in a van outside who has a feed of the actual interview, and the little kid is answering the questions, and he's relaying exactly what the kid is saying back to the interviewer. And it is one of the funniest segments I've probably seen on that show. So
Really?
yeah, YouTube it and watch it. I'm like on the ground rolling when I'm watching that. It's so funny. Awesome. Well, that's it for today's episode, right, guys? So we'll wrap it up here.
Yep.
You can check us out on nocamspodcast.podbean.com. Email us at nocamspod@gmail.com. I'm Akash.
I'm Sunny G.
I'm Jason.
All right. Bye, guys.